So when one like Dave, thank God. Everyone here will get an opportunity to share funny and stories, both true and false, as well as fond memories he or she has experienced where Dave is concerned. While we're certainly here to roast him and honor Dave, let's first turn to the Almighty for the blessing of the food, and Kevin will lead us.
Oh, okay. We got something right here in the middle, man. We just need we'll have this waiter move those plates. They're not supposed to be
There's
in
some
there.
rolls here too, if anybody.
Yeah, we'll put the rolls by the couch right now. They need to put it by my chair. That's where it's a good place. We'll put these right here for now. Folks, go help yourselves, and then after you eat a little bit, we'll do a little bit of roasting and give you an opportunity to tell some falsehoods or truths about Dave.
You don't have to make falsehoods.
Dave's been a fisherman for a long time. Right? He started his fishing career at Citgo with this. Okay, so hold that rod for me there if you don't mind. I'll take the rope. So something like this. Dave's out there on the docks, 6'4", and skinny as a twig, and he wraps this rope around him so that big old garfish can't get away from it.
This is true.
And he will spear that garfish in the river. So Dave, I know you're still a big fisherman, so I know you lost this. I want to get it back to you. Got a couple of pictures of Dave when he first hired in, or a single picture of Dave when he first hired in, and he looks a lot like he did back then, you know, or now, back then. He came with diapers, you know. And what's funny is Kevin mentioned how close they are in time. That's how they look. They had these crow's feet and all way back then. This is something I saw whenever we were doing all the JA upgrade stuff. And down at the Flare, I don't know what that is. Let's see. Down at the Flare, there was 3 generations worth of analyzer buildings that Dave was, you know, relatively in charge of during that time frame. They were all still sitting in the same spot. So I had Dennis go down there and take a picture of it for me, because I thought it just might be a neat keepsake for you, Dave. So anyway, there's JA buildings, and you can see how they constantly, progressively got bigger and more expensive under Dave's.
Love it.
These are for you, buddy. I enjoy working for you.
This one's for us.
Yeah. Yeah, they got more expensive once they got there and stands are added. All right, well, that's all I got. I appreciate you working for you, and thank you for putting up with me and letting me analyze the part.
He didn't hear you?
Surely Robert has some.
Oh, don't give it,
There's
don't
nothing
get
I
it
can say
away.
about Dave that wouldn't alert the authorities, so I'm keeping quiet. The Hortons and I ain't saying nothing.
Oh, man.
Come on, Will.
You got witness that.
Say something.
Now, I had a long speech, but I'll cut it down to about 500 words. When Dave first got to be a supervisor, I heard one of the analyzer guys say, "Man, you've been drinking that Cool Motor." And it's like, what is Cool Motor? Come to find out, City Service made a product that was a motor oil called Cool Motor. So every up-and-coming supervisor got accused of drinking Cool Motor. And Dave was pretty cool under pressure, so I always wondered, was he drinking Cool Motor? One day, I walked by Dave's truck, and there was something in the back of his truck, and
Oh, where'd you get that
it
can?
was a can of Cool Motor. Now I know he's drinking Cool Motor. So that was the first clue. The second clue, I'm walking by his office one day and the phone rings, and it was medical. I said, "Hello." She said, "Is this Mr. Swinburn?" I said, "It is." And she said, "Dave, your blood sample your urine sample both come back with hydrocarbons. She said, are you drinking cool motor again? I said, no ma'am. I don't know nothing about it. She said, if you don't get off of that stuff, we're gonna put you back in, what was it? I forget. Some kind of cool motor, a cool motor rehab. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. She said, yes, you do. So the third clue that he was really on this cool motor stuff, I was up in Tulsa, and I walked into a flea market, and I found this picture, and I had to buy it and bring it to show to y'all. It's the coolest picture. Evidently, Dave won a Texas pool motor. Ball at City Service Museum somewhere.
That is awesome. You didn't disappoint me there, man. That was fantastic. Good job, man. I know Richard Markendale's got that.
Well, I was sitting here listening to Wittstein. It reminded me of a story back when Wittstein was up there with us. And he was telling me one day, he says he's sitting there and he walked into Troy Thompson's office. And Troy starts just chewing him out. I mean, he reamed him out good. And when he stops for a second, Witt looks at him and says, Troy, that wasn't me, that was Dave. And Troy looked at him, he says, you know, go chew him out. He says, you think it him?
Sure.
Everybody knows Dave, here knows Dave likes to fish. Well, one morning, my buddy called me and said, let's go fishing on the Sabine River. Dave likes to fish Sabine River too. So we get to the boat launch on the orange side, we launch the boat, cut across the river, start fishing the bank about a half a mile away from the launch. And we're sitting there fishing 5 minutes into it, and I said, we hear this noise, like yelling. I look at my buddy, yeah, what is that? I start listening, and I'm like, that is Dave Swinburn. Half a mile away at the launch, carrying on a conversation with somebody at the launch. Here, like half a mile down the river.
That's a true story. That's a true story. You know, some people I've heard they would put electrodes in the water, just shock the fish up or tornado. Dave just talks them to death. All right, Jerry. This all be on.
Hey, I really appreciate you guys putting this together. It's a great time to get together in fellowship and honor Dave Swinburn, the mouth of the Sabine. You know, you always knew that Dave was in the plant. You didn't have to page him or anything, just listen. And, you know, it's great to have a retirement party. And when we were in the plant, some people were reluctant to have a retirement party. We don't have a retirement party. And I tell all of them, I said, you know, really, retirements are kind of like funerals. It's not so much for you, it's for the people you leave behind. So this is even better. You know, it's some of the people that we left behind in the plants are working, but it's a whole lot of us escapees. So it's fun to get together, and I just want to say a couple more things about Dave, but I do want to honor some of you that are still working. Like, I remember Tony and Jason and Josh. And I know y'all are drawing checks. I don't know how much you're working, but we appreciate you being out there and paying taxes and paying on Social Security, because all the rest of us are drawing it. Yeah. So Dave, I remember a couple of things, you know, three things really. I wish I had saved some of the cartoons that Don McKay used to draw.
Oh, man.
Because you and I were building a house about the same time, and there was a cartoon of you standing up on the rafters with your nail gun, and you have crisscross nail belt on either side like a bandolero. Yeah, it was pretty good. And then I appreciate the time that I got called out to the acid plant there was some, I think there's an O2 analyzer that was not working, you know, at the acid plant. And I had no clue, you know, how to fix an O2 analyzer, but I called you and you answered the phone. And you talked to me through it. I was hanging on this handrail out there and took some stuff apart, you know, and got my hands burned and put it back together with some Vaseline or something. But it worked, or at least the operators were okay with it, and I got to leave. So I appreciate the help, and I forgive you for not coming out and doing it. And then the other thing that comes to mind was we used to always think about, boy, it'd be great to have a log splitter. You know, to be able to split wood and to have, you know, to take care of your family and all that, because we were all busting it by hand. And so we dreamed about having a log splitter one day. Well, y'all were kind enough to give me a little send-away party when I got banished to SitCon, and we were having cake and stuff in the shop. And you came out and Dave said, "We bought you a present." I said, "What is it?" He said, "It's a log splitter." I said, "Yeah." There was a box about this big on the iron table in the instrument shop, and he uncovered it. And it was he had built a log splitter with a little tiny instrument piston, and he had it set up with some solenoid valves, and it would split like toothpicks, you know? So I appreciate that. But I do appreciate all your years of service and working together with you.
I probably should have not Dave 12 years out of Sitco if it wouldn't have been for Dave. Cutting me slack. I was a little green when I got there, but looking, Dave, Mr. Bill, Pat, Mr. Jerry, Mr. Ken, Tony, Fitz, everybody over here, like, they wonder now where I'm working at now, like, man, how'd you turn out the way you did? I was like, if you knew the guys I knew, 30 plus years, you understand. Best 12 years I had of my life working in an industrial setting. The story I'll tell you about Dave is me and Jason were like just brothers out there, right? Everybody thought we were related. We was always getting into trouble. We had worked an outage, and I said, "Hey, let's go fishing." So he brought his boat. We was telling Dave, he's like, "Nope, y'all got routes to run. You got stuff to do in the morning. You're working 16." We didn't make it. We scooted out, and the guys were like, where's the two boys at? They're like, we passed them going out fishing. Dave calls us. We're in the boat, and we start acting like we're having bad reception all over. They knew reality, understood it, right? But it was always fun out there with Dave, and I do appreciate teaching us everything.
Yeah. That's another true story. Yes. Stan?
Well, you haven't lived until you've been on an airplane with Dave. Especially when Dave's got a set of noise canceling headphones and nobody else does. And, it was kind of funny one time because Tony Vanna and Dave were sitting together and they were playing a game on an iPad of pool. And everybody on the plane knew how the game was going. And so I really enjoyed working with Dave. One of the best bosses that I've ever had the privilege of working for. And it was definitely a pleasure.
You're not working for me anymore, Pat. Neither am I. Okay, well, I guess I'll try to finish up. Nobody's insulted you yet, so I figure it's time to get a few little slams. You know, you just notice the banner, the legend has retired. I caught that picture one day when he didn't have his teeth in. And so I said, we'll make that the funny one. Then we got a good one of him. I don't know if you realize where that picture was taken, of where we signed around it. No, that was taken in New Hampshire with you, me, and Chuck Middleton now zeroed in on your picture.
I can't remember who was there. Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck. And that was taken in New Hampshire, so the good picture there of you was is where, be sure you guys that have worked and known him, be sure to sign it before you leave if you haven't already. And we got a frame for that, Dave, that goes with that. Marlon got you a frame. Well, I wish I'd have gotten Dwayne Wistein to work with me on this little jingle that I came up with, but because he would really, Dwayne is a genius when it comes to poetry. This is the best I could do, Dwayne. Now I had to put a EE on the end of on Dave just to make it kind of come out 2 syllable. Davy, what your life has meant to me. Davy, you made analyzer history. Davy, there's a rumor that I've been hearing since I was 5, that you're the smartest man alive. Davy, Davy, supervisors come and go. Davy, some are just a lot of show. Davy, we'll line up all of the rest, but they'll never pass the test. Like you said, I am the best. Davy. I always loved his humility. You know, one time we had put in for when they first started the PCA positions. They were talking about it in 1996. Dwayne and I had put in, and Dave had put in. We were coming back from lunch one day, and Dwayne and I were just, we weren't bubbling with overconfidence. We just hope, we said, man, I hope we get picked. They're only going to pick Dave the first go around. Dave said, well, the only thing that'll upset me if I'm not the number 1 pick. That just reminded me of the backside of a horse, I'll never forget. You remember that, Dwayne? Yeah, you remember. I didn't make that up. By the way, Pat informed me a moment ago that all roasters cannot say anything about the roastee that would jeopardize his reputation during his career at Citgo or in the analyzer field. Well, I guess that's all for me. But no, Dave and I have been friends for 40 plus years now. I got the instrument department in '79. And Dave, you've always been ugly. It takes one to know one, When he was born, the doctor slapped his mother. And you know what? What a lot of people don't know, the same doctor that delivered Dave spent the rest of his career developing the birth control pill. His parents bought him a baby carriage with no brakes. They sent him out on Halloween as is. Dave got kidnapped one time when he was a kid, and his parents received a note saying, pay us $5,000 or you'll see your kid again. One time Dave got lost. He asked a cop to help him find his parents. Dave said, do you think we'll find them, officer? The cop said, I don't know, kid. There's just so many places they can hide. After so many years in supervision, the stress of having to deal with middle management was starting to wear on Dave one day, so he went to the psychiatrist. After listening to Dave, his doctor told Dave he was crazy. Dave said he wanted a second opinion. The doctor said, okay, you're ugly too. Gina and Dave went to the theater the other night, and the usher was putting them in the wrong seats. Gina was a little upset. She turned to the usher and said, pardon me, sir, but I have a box seat. Dave said, keep your coat on, honey, and nobody will notice. Last year, Dave made 50 years. That's really old. He's so old that when God said, let there be light, Dave flipped the switch. Dave's old enough to remember when emojis were called hieroglyphics. He's so old that when he walks up to an antique shop, they want to buy him. In all the years that I've worked with Dave, he's truly been a technical mentor to me. He really knows a lot of stuff. I also came to realize that if he didn't know the answer to a question, he would make it up. Just a few years ago, 2019 to be exact, I called upon Dave to help me offload a Blackstone griddle. I had to have a Blackstone griddle. So I went and bought one. It was already assembled. And if y'all know, this this griddle already assembled has the tables on each end. So when you're lifting it off the truck, you better kneel down close, or those tables are going to hit you in the chest. So I had a little short fella at Walmart help me load it. I forgot to tell Dave, who's taller than I am, be sure and do a deep knee bend when you set this down. It's top heavy, don't tilt it over. What happened? He tilted over, and I tried to catch it, and I heard my bicep tendon pop, go up my arm. I think I hurt my arm. Dave said, I think I did too. But anyway, I'm the one that got hurt. So what he did, instead of having to go to ER at the moment, he decided to come on in and visit me for an hour and a half. So after he left, Marla took me to ER, then I got surgery on it, the rest is history, but I haven't used the Blackstone grill since. That's the truth.
That's a true story.
Yeah, that's a true story. Dave, sincerely, is truly in the inner circle of my friends. I feel I can count on him in time of need or a favor. That's the truth, guys. I thank him for giving me the opportunity to work with him in the Analyzer Group, and for that, I'll always be grateful. Dave and Gina have touched countless young lives. Most of you know this. Opening up their home and raising too many kids to name. I wish you all the best for a long and happy retirement, my brother. And I hope life treats you well, because you've given a lot, and you know it says in the Bible says, to whom much is given, much is required. You've given a lot and touched a lot of lives. And Dave has always been a bright spot in our lives in working. As you know, there's ups and downs at work, but it was never not enjoyable to when you're working with Dave. And Dave was a friend not just of the people that he supervised, but he was a friend of the whole department. And all of you that know him can attest to that. So Dave, this is your day. We honor you. We appreciate you. And we hope you have many years, healthy years and happy years. And try not to disappoint Gina too much. I know that's why you fish a lot, so you don't have to work at the house. But anyway, we wish you the best, my brother. Anybody else got anything to say? Well, enjoy the visiting. Oh, you got something? Come on.
I'm Chas. I'm one of the hundreds of children. And you've left two things out in your story. I think one of these is true. So apparently whenever he was born, he was the longest baby to be ever born in the state of Pennsylvania. I don't know if you still hold that record or not, but that I think is true. And his mom actually said that he looked like a spider monkey. And you also left out the part that I guess, I don't know, you never lived at my house, so you didn't know, but all the years that, 50, I only knew it for 31 of them, but I've never heard him ever come home and gossip or say anything bad or have a bad day at work and tell me anything negative about anybody. It was always just really good people, all of whom I run into you guys so many places, and I don't know who some people are, and you all know him, and he loved all of you so much. So thank you all for being here and for putting this on for him.
Anybody else? Don't want to leave anybody out. Now it's time for Dave's rebuttal.
I always say that, but it's always true. I noticed looking around the room that I've got in this room, I've got 5 of my former supervisors. If you count Lily, who ran that department, and then my current boss is here too. So, I know I'm saying anything else. I wanted to point out a few discrepancies. First of all, Mr. Jerry, that wasn't Dr. K that drew that picture.
Who was it?
That was Paul Cheney.
Oh, okay.
He misspelled my name. But I love that picture. And I don't know what ever happened to it. I intended to keep it.
We had that.
No, we had a Xerox of it. I don't know, it was on the wall for a long time. But I was going to correct Kevin, but Chastity did it for me. So. But my mom did say that. She said that when they brought me out, well, first of all, she carried me for 10.5 months. But maybe it wasn't that unusual in the 40s. But she told me one time in front of a bunch of people, because that's what she was doing. That when they brought me out and laid me on her belly, she said it's the only time in my life that I ever screamed.
Hey, Dave, Church said he carried you longer than that.
Later. I can't threaten him with anything, he's been gone. 20 years. But I gotta tell you, I'm a little flabbergasted. I won't say speechless because that would be a lie. At what's sitting in this room, because I honestly was expecting and was perfectly happy with about half this many people showing up, because people got stuff to do. Half of you, not half, but a lot of you don't even live here. And it's like they just kept coming in the door. And it got me. And I wasn't expecting that. But I enjoyed.
If you knew how much we had to pay everybody to come.
Yeah, but I told several people already that asked me about this. I said, look, you understand, I don't have anything to do with it. I said, they asked me where I wanted to have it. And I picked an all-you-can-eat place at Winston showed up. He never shows up to anything. He showed up. He ain't the only one. Josh showed up too.
Well, the reason Dwayne showed up was because I told him not to come.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the opposite.
I understand that. But I spent 50 years out there, and I've heard several people talk about how long that is, and it's really not. I mean, it's really not. That was 15 years ago, maybe, that I showed up out there. That's what it feels like. I didn't realize I was at 40 until right before I was there. And I'm like, what? Because it all happened so fast. And I put off leaving, and even that went fast. You know, I had a plan, it didn't work. I was leaving at 58, and not years. I was leaving at 58, and then of course 2000 happened. And as I always like to say, my Winston knows about it, my 401k became a 101k in 2 days. And so 58 was out the window, because at the time I was about 52, so that didn't happen. But I thought about leaving more than once, but it was not all that long ago. I literally didn't think much about it after that, right? My daddy always told me, you'll know, so I believed him. And then it all whizzes by, and it's gone before you know it. But you don't forget anything when you go. I remembered everybody that came in the door, and it wasn't who's that? You could have brought some guys here that were working there when I hired in, and I would have known who they were when they walked through the door, and they'd be 100 now. But you hang around people long enough, and they rub off on you. And I'll tell you what, I've worked with, without a doubt, the greatest bunch of people ever. And I wouldn't swap that for anything. And people used to ask me, well, when you leave, where are you going to go to work? I said, I'm going to go to work. I said, well, you can get a job anywhere you want. You can name your salary. I said, you kidding me? I said, I said, why would I do that? If I'm going to go to work somewhere, why leave? Because I'm with the greatest bunch of people around. I want to give a special thanks to what I refer to as my guys, and all you guys that either worked for me in the past or were working for me the day I left. You guys made my job so damn easy it wasn't even funny. I used to joke about being carried. I'll tell you what, and Sam jokes about carrying me. I'll tell you who carried me for 25 years. A bunch of faces in this room, except Joe. Joe quit on me. What, wait a minute, so did you. These are the only two guys that ever quit being an analyzer guy while they were working for me. And one of them took a job somewhere so far away that I can't even spell it. And Joe was honest. Joe said, I just want to do something else. And he was kind of one of those want to move around. But for 30 years, he was the only guy I ever had worked with that came and said, I don't want to do this anymore, I quit. He didn't exactly word it that way. I never forgot that.
I said that, but you wouldn't listen.
No, I wanted you to quit. You're the only guy I ever wanted to quit. Never back.
Never mind.
I'll tell you, y'all made my at least 45, about 50 years fun. And Stan's right about traveling on an airplane with me. It's probably not fun. But I used to get accused of going on boondoggle.
Yeah.
They claimed that word was invented for me. And I never really understood why they said that, because every one of the trips I ever took was really important. I just turned it into something better. I had this thing about, okay, I'm going to Bartlesville for 4 days. I'm leaving on Friday. I don't have to be there on Monday. I'm gonna make a weekend out of it. I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna take a side trip, take a road trip. I started doing that probably about the third time I ever flew anywhere, and I really had some fun going places on company business. But I would stay later. Oh, I'm done on Thursday. I'm home Monday. But I've traveled with quite a few of these guys, and it was always a pretty good time.
That reminds me of a story.
You had your chance.
And
There you go, Pat.
I wasn't there. I just heard the story. Dave, Ken, and Pat Saunier went to Bartlesville.
Yes.
And all y'all that know Pat, he didn't eat very much, or he was really
He didn't spend
limited.
any money.
Yeah, he didn't spend any money. But on that trip, I think y'all ate breakfast, y'all ate lunch, and y'all are eating dinner. And Pat just about fell out because he couldn't handle the amount of food that they were eating. You know, so Pat came back suffering.
He did fall out. He missed 2 days of the training. And Ken and I felt bad because we kind of caused it. We just, every time we turn around and we weren't in class, like, let's go eat. Okay, man, we just ate a while ago. Oh, well, we're going to pizza place, or we're going to Luby's, or we're going, and we would go, and half the time, all right, and he'd come along. And then he tried to keep up with us. And it got, after about 2 or 3 days, I felt really bad about it. He couldn't go to class for 2 days. He laid by the pool and tried not to throw up. Ken will never forget that. But we talked to each other about this.
Hey, Dave.
We do that?
You remember the time we went to Tulsa, and I had about 4 GPS in the vehicle with me. I had the GPS in the vehicle. I had Dave's GPS on his phone. Somebody in the back with another GPS.
So was that you, Tony?
Yeah, I think I made about 3 or 4 trips around Tulsa's loop. And the salesman was following us in his vehicle. And he asked us, he said, who's driving? He said, how many times are you going to make the loop? And then whenever I dumped all of y'all off and me and Boozle went back, we went right there. And I said, it's amazing. He goes, how did you find this place? I said, well, I only had 1 GPS.
Yeah, the thing is, the volume on the one GPS in the passenger side seat washed out all the rest of them. There was Dave. No, you gotta go that way. All right, Dave, let's go.
I never said I was right. I was just reading what I saw.
Yeah, I drove a Mini Cooper, and the vehicle that they rented was a Suburban. They want me to parallel parties. But we would get in the vehicle, and me and Dave would just take off and drive. And I think we were up in Kansas one time, and we passed by a sign that said "Little House on the Prairie." Yeah, and he said, did you see that? I said, well, no, let's go back. So I made a U-turn, went back, and we went just to go just to see what it was, and it was the Ingalls homestead. And we went to where the Dalton boys were, in, what was that, Coffeeville?
Coffeeville, Kansas.
Yeah, and I got pictures of Dave in the vault, in the bank that they robbed. Dave behind the teller. We have some really good.
That's right, when you go somewhere with Stan, you have to go to the biggest gun store in the world.
We always have.
They said, there's the town right up here, I think it's got the biggest gun store in the world. What is it? Davis? Al Davis? Jim Davis? Whatever. It is the biggest gun store in the world. Well, thank you guys for doing this. Oh my God.
So the legend has officially retired. If you want, if you want to talk, you'll be charged a consulting fee.
I saw that shirt right after I retired, and I told everybody that I saw. I said, I found a shirt, and I'm going to buy it.
We were also able to get you a mug that said the legend. Hey, think I'm gonna tell her no?
Okay, y'all know that Sitco had him long before I married him. So he spent 50 years with Sitco, 47 years with some, 40 some. We may not make the next 40. Y'all had him, and y'all got to split him apart. Everybody just had to have a little piece. I got him at home, all by myself. So any of y'all that want to step up to the plate and call that phone number just one more time, cut me a little bit of slack, and I will be one happy girl.